Hi everyone, I'm going to start with the problem 7-27 here, and this is talking about whether to sell something or process it further, meaning you have a product and you can sell that product and you know all of the costs around that product, but there's a potential that that product can be put into something else to make yet a second product. So the question around this is whether you want to do that or not, and does it make sense? At first glance, it could seem that the second process is more expensive, but you really need to analyze the elements of the variable costs and the fixed costs and see how much revenue you're getting out of that, and that's the exercise that we have in this case. So in the case of problem 727, there's a corporation and they manufacture some grit, and then they can take that grit and turn it into more of a silver polish. So this would be the process further part. Okay, so they go on and they tell us that it costs $1.60 to make and has a selling price of $2. You can read all of this. And then the silver polish sells for $4, which is better than $2, but are the extra costs associated with this making the silver polish really worth that extra? So they've given us some other data here in terms of what the costs are. So what I'm going to do is actually put all of this into Excel, because the question is, what is the incremental contribution margin per jar of processing the grit into a polish? Meaning, how much money am I making on top of the grit by processing this further to make the polish? So I'm going to go ahead and open up Excel. Okay, so here I've mapped this out in Excel. This is, again, problem 7-27. So here's the grit, and I've simply taken the numbers that were given to me. Here's the sales price over here, which was given to me down over here. Here's $2 a pound. So it says the grit, $3.37, it costs $1.60 a pound to make, and it has a selling price of $2. So that was pretty straightforward. Here's my sales price. Here's my cost. The sparkle was a little bit different. The sparkle, it says that a small portion of the annual production of the grit is saved to use to make the silver polish. So the silver polish sells for $4. However, it also tells us that this further processing requires 1/4 of a pound of the grit. So here's the key. All right, so it says what they want to know is what the incremental contribution margin is of selling the grit. So in other words, if we processing the grit into more polish. So when we're over here, we have to figure out what the incremental revenue is, meaning if I didn't manufacture the sparkle polish anymore and I simply just stuck to my grit production, then how much money am I losing by not selling sparkle? So you got to look at it this way. Here is the sales price of my sparkle, but I'm going to take away 25% or 1/4 of the price of the grit, because I could really be selling more grit over here, so I've got to take that away. So then the net revenue for the sparkle is simply the sales price of the sparkle less the part of the grit, because I could still sell the grit as grit, so I don't get to really take that, and that's why they want that incremental part right here. I really should call this incremental revenue, from selling the polish. Okay, let's go on.